Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Remax of Southern Africa. So nice to have you with us this morning. I'm Ryan, your training manager, and today is the 10th of October, which means that it is World Mental Health Day. It's a day to talk about mental health and show everyone that mental health does matter. It's also a day to let people know that it's okay to ask for help. And no matter what you're going through, there are people that will always support you. And as Remax SA, we have decided that on World Mental Health Day, we are going to get an expert in the field of mental health. It's Zamo van der Westhuizen. I've worked with her in the past. She's an incredible human being. And today we're going to have a conversation with her. But before we start, let us know where you're from. Let us know which office you're from, where you are in the world, where you are in South Africa. Whether you're part of Remax or not, this is a conversation we're going to be having that's very close to our hearts. There's so much going on in the world right now, and we are all facing our own challenges and our own struggles. And, at Remax SA, we care. And we care about our network. We care about everyone. And today's conversation is going to be a relaxed conversation. It is quite a sensitive subject. Not many of us are able to just get it out there and say that we are struggling with our mental health. I think a lot of us keep it hidden, which also has, it can be very difficult when we are not talking to someone, when we don't have that support base. So yeah, just come say hi. Good morning, Kayla. Good morning, Leletu from Petty, South Africa. Tuning in from Joburg. Noel, nice to have you with us. I'm going to bring Zamo in here so we can get things going. Even time causes a lot of stress in our lives. And, I think time is one of the biggest factors that can create a negative space. So, Zamo van der Westhuizen, how are you?
Hello, I am well. Thank you. How are you, Ryan? Hello, Remax. Hello, everybody that is watching.
Yeah, nice to have you with us. Thank you so much for taking the time to be with us, Zamo.
No, it's such a pleasure and such an honor, and I'm excited for our conversation today. It's a really important one, and one that really is deep in my heart. So I'm really excited. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's great to have you with us. And I know it's close to your heart, and I know it's, we've been in contact probably the last 2.5, 3 years now. And I know when, things have got tough on my side, Zamo and I just WhatsApp each other, and she always says to me, in the conversation, but how are you doing? And always there to listen and to offer advice. So I've had direct contact with Zamo when it comes into that world of mental health. So Zamo, I just want to say hi to some of the Remax network that's joining here with us. Sherelle from KZN. We have Remax Marine, Jean-Rie, Natalie Peterson's here with us saying hi to Ryan and Zamo. Hello, Natalie. Great to have you with us. So Zamo, to get things off, tell us just briefly. I know it's difficult to summarize, but tell us why. Why are you so passionate about mental health?
I think it's just in the industry that I've been in. The funny thing is I never had the passion when I was studying, right? Because when I was studying, I was doing sports science, but I double majored. So I had a major in psychology and I had a major in physiology. But I was like, oh, okay, I'll do that also, but whatever. And as I was in the fitness industry and interacting with people and kind of searching for a purpose to do more, be more, I gravitated towards mental health. And also the experiences in my life, the people around me, it's just made it so much more prevalent in my life, and also my want to support people with that. So it's a really, really understated importance. I think now people are understanding it a lot more, especially after COVID. I mean, COVID did a lot of things that put things into perspective, but it's definitely something that needs a little bit more light shone on it.
Yeah, definitely. And also the question I kind of have for you before we get into, and please, everyone, if you have any questions for Zamo, just pop it in the comments, and we'll try get to it as soon as possible. And if we don't get it on the live broadcast, then we will get to it at some time during the day today. Zamo, the question I have for you is for someone that takes on, when people tell you their struggles, their challenges, and they find themselves potentially in negative space, you take that on as an individual and as a human being. What is it that you do to make sure that you keep yourself in a good mental space?
I use my networks of support. So the biggest thing that I'm so proud of that I've done is I've cultivated safe spaces for myself in different areas of my life, right? So I've created safe spaces in my work network. I've created safe spaces within my friends, and then also my family, having everybody kind of have their role within my mental health, you know, because you're not going to tell everybody the same thing all the time, because certain people serve certain purposes in your grounding process. So what I do is, depending on what I'm carrying or what I'm navigating or what's, you know, the mental conversation in my head, I will then go to my safe space and kind of share what I need to share within the realm of obviously confidentiality and all of those things, of just how I feel, what I need. And it's also important in those situations to be like, I just need to be heard. I don't need to be saved. I don't need a response. I don't need an answer. I just need ears.
Absolutely.
So it's asking for what you need.
That's why we have two of them, right?
Exactly.
So it's actually quite interesting. Last week we were running a call with some of the agents in our network and some of the brokers, and I played a clip for them. Creating a space for yourself by a gentleman by the name of Simon Sinek, and I think it's a 2.5-minute video clip, but it speaks volumes in terms of creating time for yourself. How do you do that? What steps should you put in place? And one of the things that he brings up is asking for support, asking for help, and I think as human beings, we don't. Why do you think, why is it that we don't do that?
To a certain degree, it's the fear of being judged or seen as not being capable. And there's also a little bit of ego in it, right? Because, I mean, that saying is something else, the one that if you want something done, do it yourself.
Oh, yeah.
It's a yay, but it's also a nay. If you want something done well and you want to also reserve some of your energy, ask for help. You don't have to do everything alone. You don't have to do everything alone. And also creating a relationship where you can ask for help, you also create an opportunity to give help as well. So
yeah,
no.
And that's, I guess we always say it. You and I've said it to many of our clients in the past. You got to help yourself first before you can help others. And
100%.
sometimes we take on so much that your default becomes helping others first, and it weighs on you and it takes a toll on you, and sort of the repercussions of that can be extreme. Exactly. We don't want to get too deep into what the negative spaces that you can get into, but I'm sure a lot of people feel the same way. And just taking care of yourself is so important. Zara Gabriels, good morning to you. Zara saying hi to you, Zamo, just letting you know. So Zamo, Transformative Life Coach.
Yes.
What does that mean?
Okay, so I delve in the wellness and the transformative coaching realm. So basically what it is that I help people improve their overall well-being and make positive lasting changes. So that can be either enhancing their skills, managing stress, achieving work-life balance, just helping people change their lives in a way that is for them and that'll kind of help them move forward in the right direction.
Absolutely. And yeah, that right direction, it's so important that sometimes, again, we as humans, we can be hard on ourselves and we ask, are we going in the right direction? But it's all about just taking those small little steps, putting small little measures in place to ensure that we are, because what is the right direction?
And that's part of the process of figuring out what is your right direction, right? So often people think that we need to follow, it's like sheep. We need to go that way, but that's not grounding also for you. You got to figure out where you want to be, which way you need to go, and you focus on that.
100%. So Zamo, if you had to give us an example of how mental and emotional health can impact you on physical health. Now, we've got to make it clear that a lot of the Remax network know me as being the trainer, not only from an e-learning perspective or content perspective, but also from jumping around and sweating and getting their heart rate up. So now when we talk about the physical health space, so give us an example of how mental and emotional health can impact your physical health and vice versa.
All right. So the easiest way to put it is stress and anxiety, right? Stress and anxiety can lead to burnout. Now, a lot of us are familiar with the term burnout, but sometimes it's not fully comprehended in its ways and means and how it can appear. But when your stress levels reach a certain point, it has physical effects on your body, right? And that's basically how your mental, your headspace, the stress, your anxiety, all of this emotional, mental anguish that you're going on will physically manifest itself. So that's why it's so important to kind of cultivate a positive outlook, have emotional resilience, and that'll help you lead a more physically healthy and sustainable life, right? Including your mental health as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I had to specifically kind of draw it into the world of Remax, the world of real estate, it's a roller coaster. It's an emotional roller coaster. It's a physical roller coaster. Our agents are out there on the road. They are working on weekends. They have families. They have partners to look after. There's so much that is happening, and it can become quite overwhelming, and that sense of anxiety definitely creeps in. This stress, and what do we do? We kind of switch off. And, we deal with the 90% of negativity that sort of falls on our shoulders. And we only deal with the 10% of positive, things that happen in our lives. If you had to give advice to an agent or a broker that's feeling this emotional roller coaster, that is jumping around, spinning from one end to the other, on their computers, on their phones, in their cars, show houses, Saturdays, Sundays, what would you say to them in terms of ensuring that they are the most productive agent or broker that they can be?
I think one of the things, especially because the real estate industry is really high paced, right? It's always like it's go, go, go. It's you kind of always on your toes because you've got a lot of things to do. And that I think also does contribute to the stress factor because it's a lot. You've got a lot to do, and then you got to it's doing this and then managing this and paper. I've seen, it's a lot of things that you guys do. And one of the most important things to kind of find yourself within the chaos that might be your life is to ground yourself. Now, grounding yourself is different for different people, but it's understanding what is the thing that I can do for myself that's either pause, the standard 5 breaths in through the nose, out through the mouth. It's either listening to a song, but it's always in the craziness of your life to take a moment, or your day rather, is to take a moment to breathe, be conscious of how you are feeling, what you want to do. Do those feelings actually support you to be productive or not? Because if they don't, you're going to get stuck in them, and then you're going to actually get more overwhelmed because you can't move beyond it, right? So always grounding is my biggest thing. I generally I ground myself at the beginning of the day, which you think is weird, right? Because you just woken up, but it's setting intention. So it's setting intention. What is the energy that I want to take into my day? I'm checking with myself. I've had a good day. I'm kind of willing positivity into my day. And at the end of the day, I ground myself. Either depending on the demands of the day, is ground myself with my children. So I'll be on the floor and they can climb all over me, and that kind of, changes the energy. Or just take a moment to kind of decompress over your day. How was my day? What were my triggers? How did I feel? How do I feel about how I've shown up for myself today? And it's those kind of things that keep you in tune with yourself. You have to stay connected to yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to. And staying connected to yourself. And I think the saying these days is being present in the moment. So I just want to talk about that for a little bit here. What does being present in the moment actually mean?
It means not being on your phone, which is hard. I think for this industry, it's like people will be like, okay, whatever. But I mean, sometimes you got to put it down. It's being in the now, not being in the just now or being in the, anywhere else, but being present in the now. It's like it's like that. I always think of it as that when you get to the beach and you put your feet in the sand, where you can feel the sand in your toes, all of that in between your toes, like that. It's just being present in the now, seeing what is, being connected to what you're visually seeing, using all your senses in the now. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Joburg people are sitting now saying, what sand am I meant to put my feet into?
I mean, come to Cape Town, get a bottle, put some sand in, go to... There are ways. I mean, okay, go to the grass. Go to the yard, put your feet on the grass. There you go.
Zamo, I think you mentioned, you did mention the phone. So I want to talk a little bit about the phone and social media. So in this world that we live in, this real estate world specifically, obviously, social media is a big part of our industry, and it's becoming more and more noticeable, especially with the algorithms on Instagram and Facebook, where if you're looking at something, they just pop up now all the time regularly. Yes. In terms of what you're looking at. And also for your own organization, yourself, your own business, you tend to compare yourself with potentially another agent or another office in terms of what they're doing on social media. What impact do you think social media has on your mental health?
It's vast. It's a lot. And it can be, this is the thing with social media, right? It can be a beautiful and empowering tool, but it can also be a degrading, shattering tool as well, which is why it's so important. So for example, like you said, you're following other people within your profession and you're looking at what they're doing. It's great if you follow those people, if they're going to motivate you to do better for yourself. Then that's great, because that's like that little fire that is sparked in you. But when you watch or follow things that make you feel bad about yourself, why are you doing that? What benefit is that? And I find that a lot of people spend more time looking at the things that make them feel worse about themselves than the things that would motivate them to do and be better for themselves. It's like, It's not, you have to cultivate a social media thread or algorithm for yourself, rather, that is for you. So be conscious of the things that you are watching, because also remember, as much as you think you're like, oh, I just want to decompress or de-stress, and then you're on the phone and you're watching these things, you are taking on those things, whether you know it or not, those thoughts, those things that you are watching that are making you feel negative about yourself. You're carrying that. You think that when you put your phone down and you switch it off, that you've let it go. No, subconsciously, that stuff is still in there. The next day, you're going to wake up and you'll be like, oh, this person did this. Oh, why didn't I think of that? Instead of, oh, this person did this. Ooh, but it would be cool if I did this. And then you find your own way through it. Use social media as an inspiration, not as a tool to just be mean and negative to yourself. I mean, the world has enough of those things. Don't give it to yourself too.
Yeah, 100%. So that is so right. I actually never even thought of it like that. Because, I also can find myself, just trawling through what's happening in the world of social media. And I can categorically state that not many of it motivates me or drives me, so that's really something good to think about. So we spoke about phone, social media, switching off. So a lot of feedback that I get also from the network is, again, this high, fast-paced lifestyle. Sometimes you have a great day, sometimes you don't have such a great day. We're thinking about supporting our families, putting food on the table, whatever it might be. And when we go to bed, we can't switch off, so, and that's not really physical, that's mental in terms of, how we switch off. Do you have any advice or any guidance, perhaps any feedback that you have encountered in the world that you've been living in, as the transformative lifestyle coach? Before we go to bed, what should we be doing?
So you kind of need a wind down process, right? So it's a series of steps that you kind of repeat that become habits that kind of gets you mentally prepared for bedtime. Now, one of the problems that people generally have if you're going to take your phone with you to bed, you're going to feel inclined to reach for it, maybe put it a bit further away. But like some of the things would be, have a moment in bed with your cup of tea, if you're that way inclined, or something that's like a calming moment, something that's not stimulating, something that's just breathing. If you are a writer, journal, reflect on your day, take those thoughts and put them on paper, and let that be a form of purging your thoughts, releasing that energy, decompressing your mind, like deactivating all of the thoughts and things that you have. I think that's really an important thing. And yes, like Zahara here with starting to read, that's great. Also, I always find that reading kind of takes me to sleep a lot faster. It's like my brain goes, oh, we've done enough today, go to sleep. Go to sleep, because you read to kind of to take it in and to, you know, it's activating a lot of things. So when your brain's like, we see what you're doing, then you can go to sleep. But I think it's just changing that energy, because picking up a phone when you already feel charged and you already have all of these thoughts, and then you go onto social media and then you're just triggering more thoughts or things that are not for you, or you're even awakening an anxiety in the evening that you didn't actually have the rest of the day, which is counterproductive, really. So it's find your decompressing process before you go to bed and start it. So for example, if you are a person that's like, oh no, but I can't not have social media, then have your social media window for 30 minutes. Once that 30 minutes is done, 30 minutes is long, but 30 minutes is 30 minutes, put your phone away, and that is all that you are doing with the phone. Now the phone time is done. Tell your family and everybody, if they're looking for you, they need to phone you, because that's what you're going to answer, but nobody must WhatsApp you, message you. You're done after this time of the day. And if it's important, people will call you.
True story. So that speaks to the next point, Zamo, as you mentioned now. So you kind of mentioned boundaries, all right? Putting those boundaries in place. So in the world again of real estate, and well, actually it's in general, all right? Because of phones and that kind of immediate need to respond, you know, and the immediate feedback sometimes that people are wanting out there. Someone messages me at 7:30 at night, you know, and it's an important message, because this could decide whether I get a listing. This could decide whether I get a mandate, or, you know, sell a house, that kind of thing. But I've been trying to implement these boundaries, and I've been trying to say to myself, I've got to be better. I've listened to what Zamo has to say now. She has spoken about boundaries. She said, you know, put it away if it's important. You'll call me, etc., etc. How do I stop myself from the need to want to respond or to get to that person immediately, because it's going to weigh on me now for the rest of the evening until I go to bed?
But it will only weigh on you because you've seen it. What you don't see, you don't know, which won't affect you. So that's why also implementing that cutoff phone time, right? Also, guys, there's WhatsApp business. Put a note to say, hi, I'm out of business for now. I will respond again at 8:30, 9, whichever time you decide that that's going to be your starting time. And if it's anything important, this is the part though that I've seen that has been prevalent in the real estate, is that people also, your importance is different to someone else. So you'll say, if it's important, please call me, but I'm off the phone. And then they'll call you and you're like, but this could have waited till, you know, tomorrow. So you have to be the person that controls those boundaries. You also have to think about what matters more. Keeping those boundaries and having your safe headspace and kind of your work-life balance in check, or always answering the phone, always making yourself available, always then being that person that cannot actually implement those boundaries because you've now created a thread of I'm available. And now when you try to remove that availability, people are going to act a certain way, right? Because they'll be like, but you've been answering my calls, what's going on? Which is why it's so important when you implement it. Yes, there will be some backlash, but also remember, you teach people how to treat you.
Yeah, I was about to say that right now. That could be the starting conversation, is that you're teaching people how to treat you.
Exactly. And if it's, I can understand the stress and the anxiety of, but I don't want to miss this deal because, you know, it's important. But you are also as important, if not more important than that deal. You have to decide where your priorities lie and set those boundaries, because long term, it's not sustainable. And then cut to your family also being irritated when you're trying to have family time, but now you know, like which fight do you want to have?
Yeah, which fight is worth it?
Exactly. See,
100%. So Zamo, we chatted a couple of days ago with regards to one of your family members being in the real estate world.
Yes.
As an observer, as someone on the outside, you know, if you had to give the network some kind of advice from what you've seen from a pretty personal level, you know, what have you seen that you could take away and say, this is what I'm telling Remax today?
It's the boundaries. It's the boundaries. I mean, guys, the phone calls at like 10 p.m. You can't do anything then anyway. So why, like, why are there these phone calls? It's really, you have to also prioritize the life you want to live as well. You can't live to work. You work to live, and having that balance is so important. Yes, I understand that the industry is different and the demands are very different. It's not just a 9 to 5 standard situation, and you're also working with people, right? And that complicates things a lot because you have to manage. It's also like your cognitive function with the decision making, all of these things. But you have to, at the end of the day, make it worth your while. Otherwise, you're just trudging along, and it's not as successful as you think it is. You're actually chipping away at yourself, and it'll bring you back to that burnout. So you have to. Those boundaries are so important. The most important thing that I've noticed and witnessed and have experienced is it's the boundaries. It's the boundaries. It is tougher than it seems, but it is more necessary than you realize.
Yeah, absolutely. So burnout, let's speak about that, because I think most conversations you have today, when someone greets you and you ask how you are, almost 90% of the conversation is, I'm done. I'm tired. I'm burnt out. Obviously now we're in October, we're at the back end of the year. The world is spinning at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Things are happening all around us. First question, what have you noticed the symptoms or the signs of someone that's almost close to burnout?
I mean, it varies depending on the person, right? But I think one of the biggest things that I actually want to share with regards to burnout, and especially at this time of the year, guys, it's a quote that we all have heard. We've used it also, and it's that finish off strong. Finish off strong. Finish off strong is the quote I use for burnouts. Because in certain contexts, it's great, right? Because it means like, yes, give it all you've got. But when I use the finish off strong conversation with my friends, it's let's finish the year where we still have enough in our cup that we can enjoy the time off. So when it comes to burnout and the signs and symptoms of burnout, it varies, right? Because for some people, it'll start off as a headspace, right? Where you're just like, I can't, like, I'm not motivated. I don't want to get out of bed. I don't want to do anything. All the things that used to drive me, they don't drive me anymore. And that's the point where you should get professional help, right? Because if you are aware of what used to drive you, it doesn't drive you anymore. Something is not clicking, right? So you need to be in tune again with who you are, how you function, what your things are, and what's not aligning with the things that used to work for you. So it's what's the internal narrative that's going on. And then generally, that's where your burnout starts to fizzle in. And then when you ignore it, it starts to go into the physical part, where then your body starts to give you the feedback that your mind was telling you, but you weren't listening. So now your body's going to show you.
Yeah. And what do you say? Always listen to your body, right?
Yeah.
So
listen to your body, listen to your mind. Your mind talks first. So be aware of what that internal voice is saying. I think that's also the thing, not listening to your internal voice when it's good. When it's bad, you got to bring out the other voice to balance that out. But for most people, you are aware when you are not okay. You're aware when something is just like, it's that feeling where you're just like, oh, something is off. And a lot of us will be like, something is off. Okay, never mind. And you brush it to the side. Instead of, rather, when you have that feeling to begin with, figure out what it is. If it's not something big, great, but you've dealt with it and you can let it go and you don't have that unknown feeling in you. But for the most part, you have it. You're aware that there's something that is just not clicking, but you don't follow through.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to ask you two questions, and everyone that's watching the call, if you have any questions, just pop it in the comments bar. Please feel free to ask Zamo a question. So Zamo, I'm now an outsider. All right, I'm seeing someone close to me, one of my colleagues, a friend, whatever it might be, a partner. I'm seeing that they've hit it. They are burnt out. it's a difficult and it's a sensitive subject. How do I approach that as the person that's sitting on the outside looking in? What are the correct steps? Because, sometimes we don't offer or show support because we're too scared to. We don't know how to approach the subject per se. What kind of advice would you give?
Now, in a situation like that, it also depends on your relationship with the person, right? If you have that relationship where you are that person, that person where you can be like, hi, you're not okay. And I care about you enough to tell you that you're not okay. And I really think that you should support yourself in a way that is more, in keeping with what you need. Then you can have the direct conversation, right? But if you're not, if you're a little bit removed and it's going to be a little clash of the titans if you go confront the person about that, look at who their safe networks or their safe environments or the people close to them that they can have those kind of conversations with and talk to that person. But also, please be mindful that when you're talking to someone else about someone else, that it needs to be in a way that is respectful to the feelings of the person you're talking about. But also, don't talk about somebody's business. Do you know what I mean? Like I'm concerned about this person. They're not feeling, I feel like they're not okay. Please, can you? Don't now go and air out laundries of why and all that kind of thing, because that's not your place. But it's just bridging the gap to be like, right, I'm concerned. I'm not going to stand by, but I'm also not the person to directly talk to them. So I will find an avenue where I can positively support them, but in a way that they will receive it better. Also, sometimes in a situation, it's like write a letter if you have to. Like there are ways where you can communicate with someone to tell them that you are concerned about it. But also, as most things, the person has to be open to receiving the support, right? If they're not, it doesn't matter what you say or who you talk to or how it presents itself. If they're not there to receive it and ready to action it, it's going to fall on deaf ears.
Yeah. So let's say I'm the person now, I'm the one that's burnt out. I'm done, but I'm seeking for support. I need the help, but I'm, again, too fearful to. What sort of steps would you have in place for me to reach out? Where do I go? What do I do? I feel stuck. I feel lost. I feel alone.
So if you don't know, because obviously one of the things you can do is look up a psychologist, a psychiatrist, somebody that's very specially focused on these type of things. But if you're a little bit daunted by that, go to your GP. Talk to your GP, because your GP will also have networks for you. Tell them how you're feeling. If you're at the point where you're also having physical manifestations of your burnout, your GP will be the person, obviously, that will help you with that. And then through that, they can then put you in contact with a psychologist or a psychiatrist that will help you navigate that as well.
Awesome, Zamo. It is like we said at the start of the conversation, it's not easy. It is World Mental Health Day today on the 10th of October. And we have Zamo van der Westhuizen here for us, giving us some guidance, giving us some advice, just being here with us today. And also from a Remax SA side, that we do care about everyone, not just our network. We care about everyone. And, we understand what is happening out there in the world. But also, we say we understand, Zamo, but do we actually understand? I think it's become more prevalent since our fantastic year of COVID, that there's lots happening. Things have changed. People have had to reinvent themselves. People are working remotely. People are, all over the show now. For someone that worked in an office, let's say 5 days a week, now works at home, and now there's home things going on. There's, maybe you're seeing your partner more than you should have. Maybe you're seeing your kids more than you should have. How do we kind of embrace this change? Because that does weigh on us mentally.
It's changing your mindset. That's the thing, because a lot of the things is how you view them, right? So let's say the original start of lockdown, when everyone's like, oh my word, I'm with my partner, or the kids were all trapped and enclosed every single day, 24/7. It's a lot. And it's like, I need my space, right? That's fair. And you're justified in that feeling. I mean, we all went through that. But also it's the taking that moment to be like, I'm so grateful that at least I have the opportunity to be surrounded by people during this confinement versus being on my own and wanting it but cannot have it, right? It's those little mental changes of your perception of your environment. So If it's a case of you were going to the office 5 days a week and that worked for you, and now you're like, oh, okay, we're doing a bit more of a hybrid model, and you might be one of the people that doesn't actually help you thrive, so you're lost in that headspace, why not think, wow, I am a lot more productive now because I'm eliminating the time spent commuting, and I can be more productive. I can tap into more creative outlets to be able to kind of pitch or sell or, present property listings and things like that, and use that as positive affirmations for the changes that you've experienced in your life. So it's just changing the eyes. Take off the glasses, put some new ones that are positive, and give yourself that little bit more light instead of switching off the lights and sitting in the darkness.
Oh, just beautifully said, Zamo. couldn't have said it better, but you are the expert in the field. So Zamo, we're going to wrap things up here now. If you had to give us some pearls of wisdom, a message out there for our network, for those that are watching right now, what would that message be before we wrap things up?
I think just the simple thing is you matter. Everything you do matters, but the energy that you put behind the things that you do matters. And if you're able to understand that you are important, your mental health is vital, take the energy, because it's so easy to prioritize other things other people do. But take that energy that you're so motivated to put outwards and put it in yourself. Think of the type of person and the energy that you can give out when your cup is overflowing. So take the time to fill your cup. You matter.
That's it. 100%. You matter. And Zamo, how do we get hold of you? I want you to help me. I'm burnt out. I'm done. Where do I go? Where do I find you?
I mean, you can contact me on my work WhatsApp. So I don't know, must I give the number now or will we share it?
Yeah, we'll share it. Don't worry.
All right. Well, you'll get my details where you can reach out, and happy to support. And also, I am not a psychologist or a psychiatrist, right? So I'm just a wellness and transformative coach with a history of psychology. So I'm also one of those people that I also stay in my lane. So I'm able to support to a point, but I refer where I need to. But it's just, my biggest thing is I just enjoy creating safe spaces for people to be able to say how they feel, what they're thinking, and help them identify what they need so that they can take the steps to just empower themselves. So, yeah.
Thank you, Zamo. Everyone, thank you so much for being on the call with us today. We really hope you found something useful from it, something insightful from it. I always say when I'm at events, summits, or webinars, podcasts, whatever it is, if you can take just one thing out of what you've heard, listened to, that will get you moving forward, that will take you to the next step. Doesn't have to be shooting for the stars, just taking incremental steps as you go along in your life journey. Being kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself means you can be kind to others, and looking after yourself. And having Zamo here with us today, and this will be, so for those that want to share it, it will be on the Remax Hub, on the e-learning platform. So you can watch this again and share it with those you feel might need to listen to something like this. So Zamo, massive thanks from Remax SA for being with us today.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a pleasure.
It's always good seeing you. Thank you, Warren, Leslie. Warren saying amazing morning. Thank you. Very cool, Warren. Thank you. Annette saying thanks. Cheryl saying thanks. Noel saying thanks. Remax South Africa saying, I love this talk. Felt like you were talking to me. Thanks so much again. Anthea J. Thanks, Anthea J. Very cool. As you can see, Zamo, a lot of love and a lot of thanks to everyone. I'm sure there'll be lots more thanks coming across the screens. Shay Louise Van Tonda says thank you. Vanessa says thanks, Zamo. There you go. Look at that. Lots of love. Nina, thank you. Di saying thank you. Really, really appreciate it. Zamo, you're an amazing human being. Keep doing what you do. And Raquel says you were great. Thank you, Zamo. I agree with you there. Always good seeing you, and hopefully we'll see you again soon, Zamo.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
It's a pleasure. All right, everybody. Have an amazing day. Take care of yourself. Remember, it is World Mental Health Day. Whether it's you, whether it's a partner, a friend, someone close to you, be there for them. Show support. If you need the support yourself, go and ask for it. Take care. We'll see you soon. Bye for now.